wild at
Matt,
heart.
do you have Bible verses?
I do. So I Googled verses about masculinity. This is from openbible.info. These are the top 3 of 100 Bible verses about masculinity, the top 3 that were voted to the top of the list. 1 Corinthians 16:13. These are all in the ESV translation. Be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong. Deuteronomy 22:5. A woman shall not wear a man's garment, nor shall a man put on a woman's cloak, for whoever does these things is an abomination to the Lord your God. And 1 Timothy 5:8. But if anyone does not provide for his relatives, and especially for members of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever.
Interesting. So, first off, whenever we talk about the Bible, we should always look at context and look at times and look at all of that kind of stuff, right? But I think that like just taking out of 1 Corinthians 6, what was
16:13.
16:13. I heard the words "be strong" in that. Right.
That's correct.
And I think that there is a line between masculinity and toxic masculinity of masculinity is be strong. And that could and does mean physical, but also can be mental, spiritually, like all of those things. Right. Yeah. But then I think that someone could read that and go, that means I have to be stronger than everybody else. And that is very toxic.
Yeah.
I think some good context to add here. I just Googled definition of toxic in relation to other people. A toxic person is anyone whose behavior adds negativity and upset to your life.
So it wasn't that far off.
No, I think you're right. I think that there is something about this where I guess my question goes like, is masculinity inherently toxic? Which I feel like some people I've thought about. I think a lot of people kind of go ahead and it's like, and these impulses to want to be a protector, to want to move for action, to provide, to look out for, those things in and of themselves are not, I don't believe, inherently wrong. But like anything else, like a strength, if overused, becomes a weakness.
Yes.
So if my masculinity says that like I want to own a situation because I need to like throughout, like I want to direct my tribe, my family, my group in a direction that I think is best for us and our outcome. Like that is a fairly healthy impulse to have if you're a person that has that. However, if you overuse that to where you're just bossing everybody around, like nobody wants to be around that adds a spirit of negativity into the group, into the interactions, into the room, that I think then becomes what you would say is toxic.
Right. You know, we kind of started with this situation of like this desire to always fix things, of where like if my wife comes to me with a problem, I want to fix it. And some, you know, like if you've ever heard anything relationship anywhere, right, that situation could work. But my wife could also be coming to me just looking for somebody to talk to and listen, right? Yeah. And I think that we could dive very deep into that, and I think we should. But I think it also comes down to this like level of control of everything around you too. I think that can be very toxic of and I would put that in a place of like, I'm going to use these gifts that honestly God has given me of strength and of providing for and of all of these things to go over the top and start trying to control and fix things that are completely out of my control and outside of my like little circle of ability. And when I start doing that, I become toxic to people around me.
Yeah. I even wonder if the word toxic is really helpful in most situations. Like toxic masculinity does exist for sure. But for most people, is it so much that it's toxic or that I just have in this situation a warped sense of my masculinity?
I think so it's just a word. I think that's like a culture society thing.
Sure. But words matter.
Oh, absolutely.
And like a word like toxic is supercharged.
Right.
Where it's like that if I say toxic masculinity, I could say all masculinity is poisonous. But if I could say like, hey, have a conversation one-on-one with somebody, walk them through a situation where it's like, in here, you're using a trait that was given to you by God, that is masculine, and it's being overused, or that your sense of this is being a little bit warped right now to where it's having a negative impact.